This video is made with the sponsorship of Ecrotech New Zealand, one source for all your beekeeping requirements. Hi, Trev here from Trevs Bees on Facebook and YouTube. Today's video is going to be about potting honey. We're going to pot some runny honey first, and then I'm going to pot the creamed honey that we done in the last video. What I have to do first, because I'm hobbyist, just do it at home here, we need to put the honey into my honey gate bucket. So this is the same size bucket as the honey's in, 20 litre, and I'm just going to show you and step you through on how I do that. First off, we're going to put the honey into the honey gate bucket, get all the honey that's in that bucket in there, and then we're going to pot it up. Now, as I've said in the previous video, I like to use these pots, either square or the round ones, for my runny honey. You can get two types of lids. This white lid, it's got a little paper type insert, card insert in there, and it's called a pressure seal. And when you wind it down, it sort of bonds to the plastic ring. Or we can use these little fellas, and these are aluminium foil, and they're an induction seal. You know how on your milk bottle you get that little tear tab? Well, a lift up tab, that's what these are. To that end, got to buy a new piece of equipment. You buy one of these induction sealers. This unit cost me $108.74 from China over here, landed in New Zealand. The equivalent thing in New Zealand is $5,000. So, being the cheapskate that I am, I bought the $108 one. It works perfectly fine. So it comes with a one-page manual. I bought this through AliExpress, and just put in induction sealing machine and you'll find it. And this is a DL 500. Right, now we have 5 power settings on here, and it always defaults to the middle one, but I want it on the lowest power because I've done some tests and I've found that 800 watts is plenty, and I want it on here at timing of 0.3 of a second. So the timer defaults to 1.5 seconds. So we've sacrificed a few lids and given us a test run. Well, it's got a safety seal on these lids as well, so you know as to whether someone's opened the jar. Put these together, and then you need to give it a test seal. At 1.5 seconds you'll melt all the lid. The larger the pot, the quicker the time. And we've found out, and you need to make it that the lid seals, but when you take the seal off there's no smell of burnt plastic inside. And we've found that 0.3 of a second, that's right, 0.3 of a second is, so we can have a look down here. Time is 0.3 of a second and 800 watts. So we'll just turn that on to 0.3. Fill it up with honey with the right lid on it. We set this on top and press the button. It takes 3 seconds, 0.3 of a second, and it's done. So that's that for right now. Our next step So I have that sitting up there. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to get the honey into here. And this is how I do it. Grab the big bucket and tip fairly quickly. All that pollen that was around the top of the bucket is now perfectly mixed. Then I get in here with my little spatula and I clean all this off right down to the very bottom. Just slowly moving the scraper down as I go. As you can see, there's a lot of honey that comes off the side. Right, now leave it on my little footrest. Okay, so this is my potting shelf. So that sits up there like that. Then I get this bucket. Which now weighs about 27 kilos. Put it up on the shelf first. So I can get that up there. This is my little set of scales. Okay, so we're now set up ready to go. So the first thing we've got to do is turn the scales on. Make sure that they're set up for weighing grams. I'll put my container on, which is 29 grams. I zero that. The other thing I'll do is I'll now turn my induction sealer on and turn that to 0.3 of a second. So we're now all ready to go ahead. And I've got a wet cloth so I can wipe my fingers if I get honey over them. And I just simply let the honey run in. Real tricky. Watching it coming up to 500 grams. grams. I always make it a bit over if I have to. Get a little bit of a dribble of honey. I give that a wipe off. And now this is where the induction sealer comes in. I close that. Put that on there. That's it. As quickly as that. And away I go. This scale, so that's 504, so I don't care about that. 504 is better than 499. It doesn't feel as though it's done anything, does it? Oops, got a bit carried away that time. So what I can do, if you make a mistake, take a little bit out. Another lid on. I'm sure that's not sealed. Right, so now we've finished potting the running honey. I've got a 5 kg bucket of honey here for a lady. We've got under there 43 pots of 500 grams. The container's all clear, all cleaned out, and I've got a little bit of honey that's for me. So we'll now put that aside. We've got a last little job. Oh, sorry. So we've got 43 plots plus the equivalent of 10 pots in here, so that's 53 pots. And we know that this was batch number 12. So on my harvest records, batch number 12, I can now put in 53 pots of runny honey, and today's date, which is 6th of July. And so I keep all the records here of exactly where the honey has come from, whatever. If there's any complaints, problems, I know exactly what I'm up to. And so that this lady knows that she's getting honey in here and not bread spread, margarine. And I've got a little bracket I've made here. And all my pots are labelled like that. These labels are actually curved, but they're curved so that on the tapered pots they sit flat. So there's me and my details, and round here is the nutritional elements, a little bit about the honey, and my registration number for being allowed to produce the honey. So we've got a fair bit more work to do today, so we're not going to pot all those. I'm going to call that quits. Put that in the fridge. And now we're going to go back to start again. Put my Honeygate bucket on the ground. Get our creamed honey. Get rid of all that. We do the same procedure again. We scrape all this honey off down into the bottom of the bucket. Even if this cream honey is not fully mixed, blended right through, it doesn't really matter, because once it starts to seed, it will all cream up, the whole pot will cream up nicely. Just as a little word of caution when you're filling your honey buckets, don't overfill them. You see that there's a little line here. The bucket comes down straight, then there's a taper in, then it goes down. If you fill your buckets up to that line or just underneath it, that'll be about 25 kilos. Then when you add an extra 2.5 kilos of starter in it, have a look here, see how full the bucket is. If you'd already filled the bucket up to that stage, you can't blend your honey in to actually make the to make your cream honey. So it's quite important that you don't overfill your buckets. So as a result of that, this bucket here is already going to be, this is only going to go to the wash. So I always like to try a bit to see how it tastes. So that bucket now is 28 plus kilos. It's quite heavy to get up onto the bench, so I take it up, put it on the bench, and then I put it up the next step. If you try and do it all in one hit, you're going to hurt something. That something is usually you. So I can reach down underneath it, power up using my knees. Now remember, this time we're going to pot into the tapered pots. So first thing, start the unit off. I always start off with wiping all the benches down, cleaning them all up before I start any of this honey work. So hygiene is important. Get my scales ready, put the pot on, zero it. That's good. And then we can start. This is a lot easier than the runny honey because it doesn't run so fast. And you can see into the pot a lot easier. Don't show them that one. I've gone and overfilled that one. So first off, oh, it doesn't matter. So first off, the first pot that I do, I go and overfill it. No good giving away the profits. And then when I put these pots on, I always press down the middle and then run my thumb all around them so that they're sealed well. And then, as they say, the next 50 pots is the same as the first. Except that part way through, or before I get to as I get to the end, I've got to make sure I get my next lot of starter. So I'll get that container now, and I'll sit that here, and that'll remind me that I've got to do that. Alright, so we've now potted them up and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 is 20, that's 40, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49 pots. So we need to put that on our hive records, and that is number 11, I think. 11? Sorry, number 13. 13 comes 49. As you can see, I've refilled the starter, so we'll wash around the lip here just to make sure there's no honey in there, stop the ants getting in. that'll go up on the shelf and I'll check on that. Now we've got the bucket turned over here and we're draining it into this pot here. That's mine. There's not enough honey here to make another pot full, so I've got to have some honey in the house as well. So I'll go through and put all this honey into there, and when it's creamed, that becomes my creamed honey. I then go through with my little scraper like I did before when we were filling the pot up, and as you can see there's quite a bit of honey here that's stuck on the pot, on the bucket. And that's it. We now have got all that done. And put that away. Get my labeler out. Now, this little fella is set up specially for doing these tapered pots. So when I lie that there, that sits flat. Put my curved label on there, and now my curved label comes out flat. So that's it from Trev and Trevs Bees on Facebook and YouTube. Pot and honey. Hope you learned something.